So executives, their primary responsibility is allocating capital, allocating resources, time, people, money. Every day they make decisions where they're going to allocate things, and by default then where they don't allocate. So the fork in the road they face daily, and the decisions they make are factual, and it tells us a lot about their incentives, about their strategy, about their risk appetite. Doesn't matter what they tell us, what they present, what they show, the jokes they make, that tells us the true incentives and way they run their business. So this is what we try and look at. And I want to give you a real life example just of two different strategies of two companies that you will know, and how the management teams have decided to structure the balance sheets and have made decisions. Two big companies, Aspen, ABI. Arguably very good companies, very popular, both have come under pressure, both have got gearing on the balance sheet significant. Both these companies have spent a massive amount of capital on corporate activity, gobbling up things, merging, etc. And this is now on the balance sheet. So if we compare the two companies, and this is not an indictment on either investment case, for or against, this is just a factual comparison of our two management teams have decided to structure balance sheets. Average debt maturity in ABI is 14.5 years. So that's the average of when their debt becomes due. For Aspen, it's 2.5 years, 2.7 years, the average. So there's a lot of debt that needs to be repaid pretty soon in Aspen. Now, they need credit markets to stay open to them, and they could stay open, then this is not a problem, they'll refinance it. We just think if something happens and there's an unforeseen tail event, that's going to be a problem. If the same event occurs, ABI has got less of a problem. Average interest rate, 3.8 for ABI, 3.3 for Aspen. Now just to explain that a bit, 3.3 for Aspen is made up of 1.8% in euro debt, just 3/4 of it, and the rest is in SA. So their rate globally is actually a lot lower than ABI. ABI is 3.8, which means they pay more in interest, okay? And that's a cost to having longer dated debt. Debt structure, ABI have decided to fix 93% of their debt. They know what their debt is going to cost them for 93% of the total debt pile. Aspen's is floating 100%, so it's much cheaper right now. But they don't know next year what happens to interest rates. It goes up, it goes down. They're going to have to ride that wave. Currency overlap. So neither is ideal. Ideally, you'd have 100% overlap between the currency you pay your debt in and the currency you earn your cash flows. But this introduces a further risk, probably to both of them, but less so to ABI in terms of if one currency that you owe money in versus the currency you earn your profit in, the one moves to the other, your debt can go up without you receiving any of it. So it's just an example of where we sit with that. Debt covenants, Aspen have increased theirs to 4. It was 3.5. So they're now selling a business in part to pay down some of this debt. ABI have no covenants. They took out the bonds. The bonds are due back. It doesn't matter what happens to your net debt to EBITDA. So I mentioned both are geared. You probably think, okay, but ABI's got too much debt now. It's got a lot of debt. Remember, it's due 15 years on average. The best thing is, the longest due repayment for ABI is in 2059. That's 40 years from today. At a fixed rate. Okay? So what happens? This CEO of ABI is planning this business and the way it's going to be run in 2059. We like to partner with that owner mentality. Aspen needs to pay back all their debt in the next 3 years. They can refinance it. It could turn out well. They're getting cheaper debt. That's fine. Our view is just it creates risks that we can't discharge on behalf of clients. That's the main message. You know, if things go well for Aspen, then they've made a better decision. But the risk is all we're trying to manage at this point in the cycle. So it's just an example of how two management teams have decided to structure balance sheets and the difference, why, and that explains why we spend so much time analyzing how management teams work and what their incentives are and what it drives them to do.